Howdy, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay this morning. So, there's I want to tell a story about my wife and I in very early parts of our relationship. We had just started dating as a couple. And at this point we were talking a lot. That I'm not meaning to downplay any stage of a relationship, but the early infatuation that couples get with each other. There's nothing wrong with it, but there are stages to relationships. Well, anyway, we were in that early stage of infatuation, and I had been thinking out loud about some stuff. Nothing bad, but she was getting in a pickle, and I was trying to figure out a way that we could make things better for her. Well, we were sitting around thinking, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and it was something that was an idea that she thought I was serious about. Well, that almost started a big argument. Thankfully it didn't. She wanted to come into the house and kind of have a yelling match, and I told her, I'm like, look, there's nothing that we will ever need to discuss, no matter where this relationship goes, that will necessitate yelling. If you start yelling at me, I'm going to jump in that car, I'm going to drive away till you get settled back down, and then I'll come home and we'll talk like adults. Okay, so that ground rule in the relationship had been set down, and we sat down and we talked like adults about this miscommunication. Is what it was. Well, anyway, it's kind of what I want to talk about today, because that incident was a little over 7 years ago, and in that time, I've tried to be more purposeful with what I say. So even if I'm thinking out loud and, spouting off ideas that may not be thought through, hey, just thinking out loud here, what wouldn't this, that, or the other idea work? Yes or no kind of thing. So she's aware that I'm thinking out loud. And when I address people, I'm far more likely to add phrases at the start of a sentence. I'm not trying to call you out or single you out or embarrass you, but isn't this, that, or the other thing true or false? Striving, not necessarily succeeding, but striving in a lot of cases to be very careful with language and being specific about the words I choose for their exact definition. And the reason being is if what I mean, if what I say offends someone, I don't want it to be the kind of thing where I said something I didn't mean. If I say something offensive to someone and I meant what I said, that's fine, but I don't want to offend someone on misuse of language or have a misunderstanding on misuse of language. That's one of the things that is upsetting to me about the redefinition of some words or blatant misuse of some words is the room for interpretation that is left when you misuse a word. It adds confusion and in a lot of cases aggravation to a conversation or dialogue or story article or whatever, or news article or whatever. And it's funny, the majority of the disagreements that my wife and I have been due to lack of clear communication. The majority of the confusion between my wife and I have been due to the lack of clear communication. You know, if I'm under the impression that, we might go to, say on the weekend, hey, do we have plans this weekend? Well, we might go do such and such with so-and-so. I have no problem with that. But if she doesn't get back with me or doesn't say, hey, there's a pretty good, unless something changes, we are going to do such and such with so-and-so. And then I make plans because it was a might or I'm thinking about, then that causes a problem. So, I guess that kind of sums up the whole video, is just be precise in what you want to say. You'll find that you can disagree on something with clear position, but if you don't have a clear position, you're just going to end up confused and frustrated. My take. Call it marital advice, relationship advice, work advice. I think clear communication works in all fields, so just say what you mean what you say. Don't mince words, and don't be afraid to take a long, uncomfortable pause to collect your thoughts and say exactly what you're thinking. There was one interview I watched somewhat recently. Jordan Peterson was interviewed by a woman from GQ magazine, I believe. Don't hold me to that one. And she had asked him a question, and it was related to the topics they had been discussing and, going back and forth, but it wasn't something that they had been talking about in great detail, and she asked him a very detailed question, and he sat there for, in civil conversation, what would be an uncomfortable period of time. So she asked his question, or her question, and he's sitting there, well, here's my answer. And it was on TV, and they didn't edit that out, so he was definitely contemplating. It's not that he didn't have an answer. He wanted to be clear and concise in his answer to reflect his point of view on a topic. That's what I got. Hope y'all are having a good day. Stay safe. Remember, today's Friday the 13th in 2020, so I don't know if 2020 rules mean that this is terrible or 2020 rules mean that this is not a normal, that this is like just a normal Friday. I don't know. Y'all have a good one. Catch you next time.